Hello.
Hello. How are you?
How's it going? Yeah, I'm good.
Doing
How are
very
you?
well. I'm glad to hear it. You fought Halloween weekend this last weekend. You fought
Yeah.
Savannah Marshall. It
Yep.
it didn't go your way. It ended up in a stoppage in the seventh round. But can you tell me how you're feeling?
I'm feeling fine. Just recovering, and I burst my eardrum in the fight. So and I need to get some stitches for a hematoma. So I got them taken out the other day. So everything a little bit better now. Just going to be resting and recovering, and then get back to it again soon.
That's the spirit. That's the
Yeah.
spirit. Can you tell us a little bit about how that fight went? Can you recap it from your point of view? Whatever's
Yeah.
not too painful.
Yeah, no. So the first 2 or 3 rounds, I felt like I was boxing well. Again, she's much bigger. She was much bigger on the night than I was expecting her to be. I think there was definitely a bit of a size difference there, but first 3 rounds was definitely boxing really well. Getting in and getting out again. And she said in an interview afterwards, she was surprised. She was expecting me to come and war her straight at the beginning, but that wasn't my game plan. Game plan was to come in and box and move, and it was working well. And then I think I must have damaged the eardrum at the end of the third or the beginning of the fourth, and it kind of affected my balance quite badly. But to take nothing away from Savannah, she boxed a really great fight, and at the end of the day, she was just a little bit too big for me, and that's all it was. Yeah.
That's a phenomenal explanation. So just to sum it up quickly, would you point to would you say the game plan that you executed would have been you wouldn't have made any changes to your game plan, as I guess what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely no, I wouldn't change it. We had a great game plan in play, and I think had I been able to continue executing it, I think it would be well. Obviously when my balance was affected, I wasn't moving my head as much, so I started to take some shots down the middle, which they were heavy shots, and there's nothing you can really do about it once that starts to happen. So it is what it
Absolutely.
is. I'm disappointed that happened, but yeah, I was happy with the beginning of the fight for sure.
It's boxing. One big shot can change anything. We all know that. And
Yeah.
especially when you're battling a size difference like that, there's no question that that can really come into play. Now, Savannah Marshall is ranked number 2 by a lot of people at middleweight. I
Yeah.
think we all know who's ranked number 1 at middleweight.
Yeah.
Clarissa Shields, the two of you, I know have a history. You lost to her in by decision in 2018, and
Yeah.
if I've heard correctly, you guys spar together a lot, and you're close
Yeah.
outside of me as well.
Yeah, we're good friends. We have the same promoter, Sunita Promotions, the same manager, Mark Taffet. So since the fight, we sparred a lot. We worked together, and we actually have quite a lot in common. Same sort of drive and focus and things like that.
Yeah.
So actually, for somebody that I really didn't like before the fight, we get on really well now.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's hard to like someone you're about to fight. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
never easy. But I guess, and this isn't going to be easy either, and this is not an easy question, but you knew it was coming. Given that you fought both, one a lot more in the ring, but one much more recently, how do you see a fight between the two of them going? I mean, they're the top 2 fighters in middleweight in a lot of people's minds.
So I'm going to reserve my judgment on the
Sure.
outcome of the fight, having just fought Savannah and obviously Carissa being my best friend. But I think it's going to be a fantastic fight for fans to watch because they both do loads of different things really, really well. They've got completely different styles, and they're both bringing something different to the fight. And I for one, can't wait to see the fight myself. I think it's going to be brilliant.
I love that, and that's perfectly understandable. I probably would be doing the exact same. Now, I got a question for you. Outside of that fight, I usually announce fighters on here by their nickname, but
Yeah.
I've scoured the entire internet. BoxRec and Wikipedia usually have 10 different nicknames for every fighter, and most of them that they've never heard of. But you have no nickname, man. Do you have a nickname that you're hiding, or?
I do, yeah. No, sometimes it's announced, sometimes it's not. It goes down as the classical warrior. It was given to me right at the beginning. It's to do with the fact that I'm a classical musician. So it was it was given to me at the beginning by a good friend of mine. So yeah, sometimes it gets announced and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, that's awesome. I don't know why it wouldn't be. Like I said, Wikipedia and BoxRec are usually, they're on the spot with the nicknames. I was surprised, and everyone has a nickname. So I was like, we gotta get to the bottom of this right away.
Yeah.
We had a very prospect fighter on here the other week. I think she was 4-0. But being that you've been in this game for a while, you're in many ways a veteran. Do you have any advice for young fighters, especially young female fighters, getting into this game? Is there something maybe you wish you'd known before that you know now? What advice would you give to a young fighter?
I think I would probably say it's really important that you get a strong team around you. I think that's something that I've had right from the very beginning. My team have always been like the backbone for me. They're always there. And my coach especially is like always guiding me the best possible way. I know that every single person that's in my team has been with me right from the very beginning to where I am now. And I think that I take strength from that, and the fact that they're always there to kind of give me good advice and push me when I need to be pushed, and put me in the right position. So yeah, so get a really good team around you. Also, do not go by people's records in the women's game. That will not do you any favors. Lots of girls go between the weights all the time, and it means that we take fights that aren't necessarily like, we don't necessarily going to win, but you've stepped up a weight class or you've gone down a weight class or something like that. So also girls come into boxing from other martial arts, so they might have like a big kickboxing background, so you might be getting in with someone that you think's like 2-0, but actually they've had like 300 kickboxing fights or something. So you should always really check out their background and don't go on people's records at all in the women's game.
That's something that I learned a long time ago, is that you'll see women who, if there was in the man's game, you notice someone who's has a record that a lot more losses than you'd expect for a small amount of fights, and you'd think, oh, this guy's maybe I don't know what you call him, a showcase fighter, the kind of guy that you bring up to boost other people's resumes. That's not the case in women's fighting at all.
No.
Like you said, they step up all the time because there's a smaller talent pool. You'll notice that a lot of times people get thrown into big fights before they're ready, and I agree with everything you're saying 100%. That's definitely true.
And there's people that'll have losses to fighters on their record when actually they've gone the full distance. They've done the full championship distance with that fighter. So by no means are they actually a bad fighter. They've just not quite, they've just not got the win on the night. But it shows they've got a lot of experience in the ring. So you should always watch out for that.
Absolutely. And that's an excellent point that I think gets ignored a lot. That makes a ton of sense. What's next for Hannah Rankin? Where do you go here? Who do you want? What do you want to do? Do you see another fight against Clarissa down the road? I mean, just because she is a huge star, I don't mean to. I mean, the interview's not about her. I just was curious.
No, I'm really excited. I think Clarissa's got her next fight coming up with Decare to unify the 154 division, which would be really exciting. But no, for me, I'm dropping down to welterweight in the new year. Welter or even super welter if the opportunity came up again. But for me, like, I've been talking to my nutrition team, and I think I can definitely go down to welterweight. And having been in a middleweight with like Savannah, who's a massive middleweight, for me, I definitely know I belong at the lower weight classes. And, I became a world champion at 154, so I can make 147. So why not? I'd be a big 147er, and I think it'd be exciting. So that's my goals for the new year.
I think that'd be exciting too. I'm excited for you. I know everybody is, and we'll be watching your career with great interest. Thank you so much, Hannah Rankin, for joining us. Thank you for coming on, and I hope you feel better. I know you're still recovering, but I also know you'll get right back at it. And I look forward to talking to you before your next fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Cheers. Bye.